So what's going on, Tottenham community? My name is Leo Coys. I'm part of Colorado Spurs, and I'm a diehard Tottenham Hotspur fan. I'm joined by my homie, the one and only. If you haven't caught him on Parker's Pitch, you could catch him right here live in the flesh on the only Tottenham Hotspur podcast that is 5,280 feet above sea level. That's right, a mile high above sea level. Welcome to this episode number 30, the Rodrigo Benton core number episode. And honestly, Parker, I just gotta say him. I just gotta say this. Just sack him already. Just sack him already. Parker, I think you're muted, bro.
Hello, can you hear me
go.
now? Oh shit!
Yeah,
Sorry,
boy.
I was muted. Anyway, yeah, it's got to happen soon, but I'm doing all right. How you doing, Leo?
Whoa, I'm doing good, bro. I'm doing good. I didn't start the show off muted, but it happens to the best of us, so it's all good, my homie.
It's definitely happened to you before, Leo.
Definitely, dude. I've had major tech issues, you know, and it's just shit that happens, bro. It just happens. But yeah, bro, we have a pretty good show lined up for you guys today. We have a couple of special guests in the background. As the title says, just sack him already. It's been a freaking saga. How it's still continuing, I have no freaking idea. But we do have two wonderful people that I really want to chat with and want to get their opinions and get their thoughts and just everything of what's been going on of late. So without further ado, I'm going to bring them both on at the same time. So I hope they're both ready. And here we go. Yeetos.
How you going, boys?
What's going on, you guys? Honestly, I mean, I could give you guys an introduction, but you two guys are awesome dudes that everybody already knows. So it goes without saying, I mean, welcome to the show, the homie Paul. And we have Jack from Irish Hotspur. How are you both doing, lads?
Still left in limbo, boys. I think I'm in purgatory with this managerial situation, but at this late evening, it's probably a bit more chilled out, a bit more relaxed. So who knows? Maybe we'll get to the bottom of it. I know Paul here has some gripe with me on a certain Mr. Postacoglu that he's got to kind of ring my ear with as well. So I'm looking forward to this, boys. I'm looking forward to this. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for being here, bro. And before I move on to Paul, I just want to say, Jack, thank you for coming on, bro. It's been a while, and definitely we hope to have you on frequent flyer miles. You know what I mean? And Paul's working on that frequent flyers too. Paul, how we doing, brother?
Yeah, it's late morning here, and every morning I wake up and look at my phone looking for an update on the Tottenham manager situation. Nothing. So it's I don't know what's going on. What a shit show the whole thing is.
Man, you would have thought we would have heard something already, right, Parker? You would have thought that we would have seen already a manager come through the door, or at least went out the damn door for that matter.
I thought that by Monday that we were going to hear something, that he's gone and that Mason was going to take over. But I don't know. It's taking a little longer than normal, but that's Levy.
Yeah,
that's the business that he's in. So that's what he likes to do.
Yeah,
take his time, not jump in.
I agree. I'm just gonna go through some of these. Go through a couple of these comments real quick before we get moving in. We have the homie Jack Kanicki says Tuchel out and Poch in. Ooh. I don't know how I feel about that.
Now we're going. So what I did here, guys, what I've done here is everybody says, you don't go back to maybe an X, right? So what I did is that I went for the one that my brain told me to do, which is Tuchel. My brain told me Tuchel. My heart told me Poch. Now that my brain option, which was Tuchel, is no longer an option, I'm going to go with Poch for my brain as well as for my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't agree, but that's okay.
Second choice. The ex-girlfriend is my second choice. So
I never want Poch to come back to our club. No offense. I mean, I welcome him back, to watch the games, and he's welcome back in the dressing room or whatever, but I don't want him taking charge of Tottenham Hotspur anymore. But.
He's welcome back on the tour. He's welcome to take a tour.
Yeah, take the new
He
tour
can
of
Do
the
the Dare
stadium.
Skywalk. He's welcome to do
You
it.
can do the skywalk anytime. Let's see here. We have Phil P. Evening all. I'm losing the will to live with manage the situation, gents. Huge love from London. Phil P. It's a pleasure to have you here, brother. And he says, Jesus. Big up, Paul. Big up, Jack. And then we have James George. What's up, James George? Nice to see you. Tuchel with Bayern now. Big up, boys. Yeah, Tuchel's. That's where Tuchel's going. And look at Paul. He dodged a bullet on that one, according to Paul, right? And we have the homie Bob Spur. Big up, lads. Great to see some average looking folks this time in the evening. Get in. Nice to see you. I'm going to hit the sack soon, but want to swing by and say, woo. Thank you for swinging by and saying, woo, Phil.
Big up, Phil.
And then, of course, he's good. There's always banter between these two. He's got to say, piss off to Bob Spur. And Spurs Live, big up, my friend. Hope the panel's doing all right. Big up to you, Josh. I hope you're doing good, brother. I don't know if you've reached 1,000 yet or if you're like on the cusp of that 1,000. So go and check out Spurs Live. This dude is doing his work. I love it. And every time I get a chance to hop on a stream with him, it's fun. So big up to you, Tottenham Josh. And then James George, Bet, Mason will take over till the summer. And we'll drag it on for a few months and get someone probably lackluster. Boy, does he know the history of the Tottenham?
It depends on if we can get top 4. It's not looking likely right now, but if we do get top 4, that'll help so much in the summer.
We do know, right,
the players
guys?
we can get and all that stuff. So
I think you're right, Parker. What would you say to like Ryan Mason though? Is because with the club, sort of top 4 means everything to them. Sadly, the FA Cup, Carabao, that doesn't really mean much to them. It's more the top 4 is really what I think always matters to them no matter what. If they sack Antonio Conte and put in Ryan Mason, that would be a bit odd because that means they're probably trusting Ryan Mason to get top 4 or something like that, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
He's got the ducks in a row. You know what I mean? So if he's got the team already in place, so if they're able to just string out some results, then I do see Mason being able to get us across that line. It's not an impossible ask, It's just, guys, if we could play these games and win them. Mason's a smart guy. Mason's a good footballing person.
Feels like we could be burying him at the same time if he were to be, because I don't know, he seems like a bright guy. Looks like he could have a managerial future, but like giving him too many games at Spurs where then you are trusting him to try to get top 4.
I agree.
Feels like it would only crush his confidence.
It's like
only
make or break.
Set him up to fail.
It's make or break. If he gets it, great, and if he doesn't, it could be disaster for him. They could just let him go. But you never know. I mean, smaller club can pick him up, and he needs.
Chat Sport.
He hasn't had enough experience, in my opinion.
I want to say big up to Chat Sport. I starred your comment. I'll bring it up here in a little bit as we go along with the chat, and then I'll ask the question to these fellows here when we get to that point. Look, you guys, Ryan Mason is probably gonna be. It's probably what's gonna happen. Right. I see it hard for anybody to come in with this short of time remaining with the season. But yeah, I don't want to burn the dude out before he gets his wheels even rolling. Paul, can I just ask, bro, what is your, since we haven't talked in a while, what is your opinion? What is your thought on the whole, the whole scheme, the whole picture going on right now? Antonio said what he said on the weekend. Everybody thought he was going to be sacked on Monday. We're going now almost to Friday. I mean, for you, it probably already is Friday. So, I mean,
yeah. No,
so who did we hire, Paul?
I've kind of, gone backwards and forwards on this one. So, when Conte came in, I was very excited. Last season was good. This season's been shit. And really, Sheffield United was the final straw for me. I thought, nah, enough of this guy. Then he came out with that fiery press conference, and I thought, you know what? I agree with everything he said, but he's obviously talking to get himself sacked. And I'm kind of thinking, well, if he's a man of principle, just walk. And it just looks like we're in this, this Mexican standoff of, if we fire him, we've got to hand him millions of dollars, or, if we keep him coaching, are the team going to play for him?
It's a hostage
And
negotiation at the moment. It
it
feels like.
is. So
It
you know,
is.
even though there's been a lot I've liked about Conte. When it comes down to the main things, I guess I can't stand his style of football. And even though he's a man who appears to talk with integrity, I don't know if he's following through on it at the moment. You know, it's not right. You know, if you're going to say something like that about the player and the clubs and everything, you've got to walk. And you know, I think he should just go. But whatever. And I think we can write top 4 off this season, no matter who comes in. I don't think the fixtures we've got are too hard. And I think probably we are looking at Ryan Mason because a few more managers will become available in the closed season, which probably don't want to move clubs right now. But, you know, it's just a bloody farce. I'm just glad Tuchel has been swallowed up by Bayern because I really could not stand another season of that shit defensive football. You know, it's horrible to watch. And we've had it since Poch left. And Tuchel, I'm just so glad he's off the radar. I really am.
He broke the record though at Borussia Dortmund for most goals scored in a season, Paul.
I don't care. I don't care. It's 3 at the back, defensive shit. It's not Spurs. We got to play with 4 at the back. You know, we've got to get back into this. You know, there's been times I've gone out, picked up a chick from a pub, gone back to my place. I've not been able to perform because all I'm thinking of is Spurs playing 5 at the back. You know, sorry, darling, I support Tottenham and we're playing shit football at the moment. You know, I want someone who puts lead back in my pencil. I'm getting on. I need all the help I can fucking get.
I got a question for you, Paul. If Bentancur hadn't gotten injured, do you think we'd be in this position right now?
That's a good question. I mean, it has been a big loss for us. Yeah. I think we'd be a bit better off, but it's all ifs and buts, isn't it? I mean, every team has injuries, you know.
We were doing good with him, and then he got injured, and then everything kind of fell off the rails. I think, who knows? Like, if we still had him, we might still be in a cup competition. I think maybe, like, I don't know.
I don't think it would have made a difference. We were so off it against Sheffield United, Nottingham Forest, Middlesbrough, AC Milan. He was playing in some of those games, so
was he?
I don't think it would. Well, he must have been playing, wasn't he? In one of those,
so.
Surely. No, okay.
I don't think he played against Sheffield. I think he was injured at that time.
He wasn't not in Sheffield, but not Forest or Middlesbrough.
Now. Yeah. For like a few. I think he's been injured for at least over a month at this stage. Yeah.
But I think the team is just, playing like wank at the moment. I don't think it would have made a difference.
Okay.
Back up, Ben Kaufman. Thank you for joining the stream, bro. Yeah. Big up to you, sir.
Jack, what do you think about Bentancur being injured? Do you think that affected like the outcome of our season so far? Because we had high hopes, a while ago, and now it's like no hope really at all. And Bentancur was a big reason. He was scoring those goals that were like important goals too, not just like consolation goals, right? Like, so
I know what you mean, because when he did get injured, he was practically sort of carrying the team in certain games, that's for sure. And he was sort of kind of really, like you say, kind of starting to score goals, starting to kind of produce maybe other parts that maybe he never really did at Juventus. And I feel like him and Højbjerg certainly were able to sort of, I know we did get sort of overrun in the midfield in a lot of games, but it did feel like it was less likely to happen when it was Højbjerg and Bentancur together. They kind of did do a pretty good job at being able to take care of it by themselves. But I don't know. Like, I don't know if we were really that dependent on Bentancur at the end of the day. I think we have been maybe heavily dependent on probably the attack actually sort of making up for what is a really shocking and what is a really unreliable defense. I mean, you have to look at some of the goals we have conceded this season, even in the Premier League alone. Like, they're not exactly like goals that people kind of make them out to be under Antonio Conte, where I understand the tactics are negative, Parker, but I think some of the goals we've conceded this season, they're really more like goals that you would play kind of the circus music on, kind of in the background, kind of goals where it just doesn't really have any sort of sense. It doesn't really have any sort of kind of like, explanation to it, other than really just we have useless defenders, I think, in a lot of parts. And it's the thing is that even if we do end up playing progressive football with whatever manager we have next, it might be more pleasing to watch. I still think we'll have the same circus clown mistakes that we've continued to watch this season that have come repeatedly. And I do feel like, at least in my opinion, happen way more often than people think. I feel like some of the goals we've conceded this season have been maybe due to Antonio Conte's tactics of, yes, us maybe kind of asking for it, being under pressure and whatnot, but also plenty of the goals like we've conceded have just been like kind of blooper reel type, type goals. Even Hugo Lloris is a great example of one. Like, I think Hugo's let in how many near post goals that have just been completely savable, and also how many weird just bonehead decisions has he made, just to give away a goal. And then, I mean, we don't need to get started on Moonhead or Eric Dyer, but I think you know where I'm going with this, where it's just sort of like, I think Antonio Conte was a victim of his own tactics at times, but I also feel like he was a victim of just having useless defenders. And I'm pretty sure the next manager, if we don't get rid of these guys, will also be a victim of these defenders.
I want to get a leader, a player that can just change the whole team. That's hopeful thinking. But
we need a Van Dijk.
When I think of I was also thinking of Manchester United with the new guy from Real Madrid. What is his name? The midfielder. He just came.
Casemiro. Yeah,
Casemiro changed the team, right? He's that leader that can just change everyone's just their personality and the way they fight for the game. And Harry Kane is not the right captain, or Lloris.
I agree.
We need to bring in somebody that can just shut everybody up and just do what they need to do. And I think, we can find a new manager, and they can find somebody like that.
You're right. I mean, if we don't get new defenders, it don't matter, does it? The only thing I would like is that if we play a bit more exciting football, it'd be nice to just get the ball the fuck away from our back line a bit more often, instead of the whole strategy seeming to form around these people that are totally incompetent.
No, I agree with you, Paul,
I don't think we're going to win anything unless we replace those guys, for sure.
No, I agree with you, Paul, because at the moment, no matter what, it's kind of the whole polishing a turd, but the defense, no matter what, is a turd, and you want to see it polished better by someone else. That's completely, no matter what, the next manager that comes in is also going to be pulling his hair out with these defenders if they're not replaced. But maybe we still might be having more possession of the ball. We still might have, a bit more on the eye, easy on the eye type of football. Because I'll be honest, Paul, when I did go to AC Milan and I did see that game, the reason, me and Phil P were, got along so much is because he showed me this abyss right outside the stadium where he and I basically just screamed into, because it was honestly two teams that really weren't there to play football. And that's where I did get upset, because it was just sort of like, if we were the team that was 1-0 up, I would have been happy to play the most shithousery football possible to win that game. Like, believe me, I actually almost kind of am a bit of a sicko. I kind of almost would have preferred that, because it's almost more fun that way when you're up like 1-0 or 2-0. But the fact that we were 1-0 down and we were playing like as if we didn't want to win the game either, sort of thing. Felt like two teams that just didn't want to win the game. It was really quite horrible to watch. And so that's where I don't know. I've been stubbornly Conte in, and I've been stubbornly a very big defender of Conte. But I did see where fans were coming from after watching that game, like why they might want a more progressive, easy on the eye kind of brand of football. I could see where they're coming from.
I totally feel what you're saying, bro, and I feel the same way. I've been trying to give Antonio Conte his time, just trying to buy more time, and I'm just over it, Jack. I'm over it. And it's not necessarily just the comments, bro, because I feel the comments were well needed, but I think they were needed like 6 months ago. You know what I mean? I don't think they were long overdue, but I just feel like, bro, like growing up in my neighborhood, bro, like you either is or you is ain't. You know what I mean? You either are or you're not, bro. And I've always wanted to feel like he is, but I'm starting to see that, like, bro, even in his press conferences, he retracts what he says, and he basically gets caught up in lies in his press conferences, right? He gets caught up in lies, and then has to think about new shit to say.
He's been holding back. Yeah, sorry.
Well, that's fair. That's fair, Parker. I know he's been holding back. He's a professional. At the end of the day, he works for a company that he can't just go out there and put the whole business on blast. Like he said, I've been holding it for too long, but I just can't. I can't lie anymore. And I mean, I think all of us as fans feel the same way. We've been trying to just deal with it for so long that now it's like, man, fuck that, dude. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's
He's sick
it's
of
just like
it.
the homie Brent. The homie Brent just hit the nail on the head with the hammer. It's been a marriage of convenience since
Yeah,
the beginning, and it
pretty much.
definitely has been, Brent. That's a spot on statement, Brent.
Yeah.
Big up, actually, shout out to Brent. I do want to ask you guys this question from Josh. He did say, do Tottenham need a complete rebuild? And we'll just touch on this real quick, and we can continue talking about the managerial stuff. Do Tottenham need a complete rebuild, or can Tottenham's next manager potentially win something with this group? Parker, I'll go to you first, bro. What do you feel?
I think it's like in between. I don't think we need a complete rebuild, but I think we need to get rid of a lot of players. Like, you know, I think we obviously need a new defense. Like even Romero is just like, it's just frustrating to watch, you know, like, so, but I don't know. There's are players that I like, you know, surprisingly, there are players that I like at Tottenham. I like Højbjerg. I like Skip. I want those two guys to stay. I don't know.
We do have players. We can. Let me rephrase this. We have the potential to have a core of younger players to build around, right? They probably not right now like world-class beaters, you know, like your Skippy, like your Romero, like a Sarr, Betancourt. We have young players, Kulusevski, you know, that we can build off of, right? I wouldn't say rebuild. I would say build. You know, the whole rebuild process is too much.
I think it's a rebuild, guys. If it's a complete rebuild, if you get rid of Kane and Son, because I think we know how dependent we are on those two. So it's like with the next manager, is the next manager capable of keeping Kane and Son and making it work with Kane and Son? Or with the next manager, do you kind of just think about just taking a whole sledgehammer to the whole building and just sort of kind of just gutting basically the whole squad, including Kane and Son, to get a little bit of cash flow? And then just starting whole fresh. I think that's where you start, is like, do you want to keep Kane and Son, try to do it again with a different manager, or do you kind of just send them off on their way?
We have a lot of players that nobody wants to buy. Like we have like 5 players on loan. And then, you know, like a lot of players. I mean, yeah, we need to get rid of a lot of players, but nobody wants them.
That's why Bradji's here to cook the books to get rid of those guys. Don't you worry.
Yeah, but
he might be gone too, though, Jack. He might be gone too, bro. That's a good thing you bring that up. I mean, because Pratici might be gone too, bro. I mean, who knows, dude? They might be working on a severage package for him too.
I hope not. He's there to cook the books, to get rid of Winks and Ndombele. So, you know, the way he got rid of, you look at now Dele Alli, right? Like Dele Alli, look at his situation. The way that either Everton or that dumb and that silly, which is probably actually the case, or also Pratici cooked the books, you know, over here at Tottenham Hotspur to get him. You know,
dude, we gave him away, bro.
Like sold him for free or like something.
We gave him away.
It was a weird. It was like a weird transfer he negotiated. I think it was like if he plays more than 20 games or something for Everton, they pay us like 30 million, which is unbelievable. But now Everton have realized that he's like a ticking time bomb over there, where they, you know, eventually, if he plays 20 games, they'll have to pay us 30 million for what might be probably the biggest drop off of a player we've ever seen. So.
Oh my God. Yeah. Sad story, bro.
You know, when I'm optimistic, I think, especially if we go back to a back four, so 4-3-3 or 4-4-2 or whatever, I think we're only really looking at a centre-back, a goalkeeper, possibly a left-back. But we need, like Parker said, we need a leader in there somewhere. So if we're going
to... coming back.
Sorry?
We got Destiny Udogie coming.
Yeah, I'd probably stick him on the left wing, though, instead of defence. Although I haven't really seen him play much, so I could be far out on that one.
He is an attacking wing back for sure, yeah.
Right. You see, I don't like the whole phrase wing back. You know, it's a fullback. You know, wing back. Every wing back I've seen, they're not as good a defender as a fullback, and they're nowhere good as a winger as a winger. So I'd get rid of the whole wing back bullshit. 4-4-2 or 4-5-1, and if our centre back was like a big bastard who could scare people and could put a rocket up the rest of the players, I don't think we're actually that far off. You know, if we stick with this back five crap, then we need 2 centre backs. And I just hate it. You know, and we've got no midfield when we play like that. So I don't think it is a complete rebuild. The thing is, has Son, you know, his dip in form is looking worryingly long. I know there's glimmers of him coming back, but I don't know if he's gone or is he on his way back. Harry Kane, we should not be selling him in a million years. We should keep him forever because he's by far our best player. And I don't give a shit if he's won no trophies in his career. I don't care because he's a Tottenham player and I want him to stay at Tottenham because he's the world's best striker. So fuck all that other shit. But the only question mark is, you know, Conte's remarks about the players being selfish and not playing as a team. You know, using my own eyes, it looks like that has been true for quite a few games this year. And so is there some sort of sickness of morale that does require buying in more players than I really think? Because I'm just going off ability. If you take into account their mental capacity, are they all shot or not? I don't know.
I think that's what people mean by rebuild slightly, though, because there are a lot of players from that Pochettino era, Paul, that we still haven't gotten rid of, that we kind of, at least, I don't know, me and Dave sort of believe, that are kind of still, I'll be honest, for lack of a better word, sort of poison kind of in the squad when it comes to the mentality. They've kind of seen and done too much. Like they've been a part of the Colchesters, the Enes Muras, the Antwerp results, the Genks, you know, all the Zagrebs, all the horrible results that we have had over these years that have got previous managers sacked and have put previous managers under pressure. It's always been kind of the same combination of, whether we even make excuses for them or not this season, it's always been the same combination of Dyer, Sanchez, Davies, Tanganga, all that sort of crew from back in the day. And I feels like maybe apart from Kane and Son, but some people have lopped them into it because maybe their mentality isn't right either. I don't believe that's the case. But, you know, the point being is there have been kind of players that have just stuck around for just way too long. And maybe the ones that have been there since that Pochettino era, all fair respect to them for what they've done. Maybe not in some cases, but they need to go. They need to go. And Lloris is one of them. And I think Lloris is also one of the poisoned mentalities in this team. I think that also as well, him being the captain, I mean, the captain is the one that has the say at the end of the day. And if we've seen Lloris's body language after he's made mistakes, he doesn't take accountability when he's made mistakes this season. Like, I think there are a lot of just, I hate to say it, there are a lot of bad eggs, I think, in this dressing room that have just been around here too long. And maybe that's the reason they're bad eggs. They've just been around here too long, and they sort of have had a bit of too much comfort in kind of their sort of longevity here at the club. And I think what we've been needing is a big shakeup for a long time. And they've done a very good job at finding a way to sort of stick around, kind of like coral or, you know, like whatever you call it, or barnacles or whatever.
Well, I mean, but what you're saying there, Jay, I mean, I agree, but I mean, that doesn't sort of smell of an entire rebuild. That number of players that have been around too long, it is shrinking. You know, hopefully Winks, you know,
I think it's almost everybody after. It's almost like everybody after Jose is sort of like, I feel like what we should be. Maybe those are I would say all the South American guys seem to have the best, you know, sort of mentality. I think Richarlison clearly has a good mentality at the end of the day because he wants to succeed. He's very competitive. Obviously, he gives like half of what, you know, he gives half his salary away to, I think, his hometown or like something like that. I think Emerson as well, obviously, has been able to shield out all the hate and everything and been able to put his head down. Pedro Porro is already, you know, given it the big into Tim Sherwood, which is good to see. I know he's from Spain, but, and in the case of Romero, we know he has that Sergio Ramos kind of like evil, you know, dark lord sort of kind of dark arts kind of a mentality, which I think is sort of old school, which you would appreciate too, Paul. So I don't know. I would say we just continue down getting a lot more to South Americans into the team because they seem to have all the right mentality.
I like Højbjerg too.
Højbjerg is the Viking, of course. Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes you do have to shit house a game. Actually, I watched the last word on Spurs stream after Conte's rant, and they had this guy Jar Wobble, who's a musician. I didn't even know he was a Spurs fan, and it's worth watching, man. For him, he is just brilliant. He nails it all the time. You know, he's like, when you got 10 minutes to go, and this is on a family-friendly podcast as well, but he just couldn't help himself. He says, You've just got to keep the bloody ball. You just got to keep the fucking ball. Keep the fucking ball. Keep the fucking ball. And that's it. We don't do that, do we? You know, we think we're smarter than that, and we ain't.
See games out. Yeah, we try to be
I think
clever.
we've been a lot better with Fraser in goal, though. Sorry, Parker. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, I agree with Paul. We're just trying to be too clever. We just need to keep the ball, keep possession, not do anything crazy. But I think, in talking about like the end of this season, what are your guys' predictions? Because I know, like earlier in the season, I remember we went through a bad run through Conte, and he had another one of those press conferences. Wasn't as bad as the one recently, but he kind of just, was like, we've lost 4 out of the last 5, blah, blah, blah. The next game we won like a lot. I don't even remember the score, but we won like 4-0 or something. So it actually had a good effect on the players. Do you think it's going to be the same thing this time, or do you think we're going to just lose the next 3 games?
The players know now for sure. If they lose a game, he's gone, because we're all, even if Levy's hanging around because he thinks he's got a better chance of getting top 4, we lose against Everton, that's it, he's gone. So if these players, because we you're hearing leaks in media outlets like The Guardian that some of the players are upset with him. I can guess exactly who's upset with him, the same pricks that that Jack's been talking about, and. It's in their power.
With him, though, Paul, to be honest, sorry,
Sorry?
You're making a good point, but like Højbjerg and Pedro Porro have been upset with him too. And Romero has been very upset.
But do these players want to make top 4?
I'm not sure if
you're right. Maybe not Højbjerg, but Romero clearly has been upset with the comments.
So are they going to lose on purpose?
Romero has been upset with the comments.
I didn't see. What did he say about it? I didn't see
basically said he had a big speech, he had a big Instagram post, because I follow him on Instagram, and it sort of said in English, wasn't even in Spanish, it was in English, sort of saying I will be here for a very long time, I love all my teammates, we're working very hard together, I love this club, I will, he made points about Paul, about how I will be here for a while, I'm here for the long haul sort of thing, if that makes any sense, kind of making a jab at Conte.
I don't know if I'd interpret that as, I don't know if I'd interpret that too much. It might be, but I think if a player had a problem with it, they'd say a bit more than that, I think. But it's up to the players, isn't it? I mean, if Conte's on the sideline against Everton, which I doubt he will be, I think we're going to lose that game because the players already want him gone. So I reckon this season's a write-off. If you looked at our fixtures, we've got a few easy ones, but then we've got Liverpool, Man United, Newcastle. They're going to bloody kill us.
Yeah. Real quick, guys, I'm going to go to some
moment where destiny's not in our own hands. We've got to rely on other people fucking up before we get top 4. So even if we win all our games, we might not get top 4.
I'm going to go through some of these comments, and then I'm going to ask you guys a question that kind of just occurred to me. It's a little bit far back. Big up, lads. Big up, everyone in the chat. Big up to you, my homie. Hope you're doing well. Isn't it past your bedtime, though, Bobby? I was just joking, brother.
What's up, Bobby?
I doubt Nagelsmann comes to Spurs. I've already seen reports that Chelsea are interested. Nagelsmann looks odds on, says Chat Sport. Brent Barkley, yeah, we went back and seen this. This was a good comment right here. SOF says Poch would be a good option for Real Madrid. They have a young core of players. I wouldn't be surprised. Could speak the language. I wasn't sold on Thomas Tuchel would go there. That's true. And we went through Bob Spurs about the rebuild for what? You only rebuild from a completed structure. If we've not had that from Levy and Enoch, we've shied away from placing the last slab for a build. So no, a build is needed, no rebuild. I kind of agree with that there. Get Spence back and give him a real go. Is Spence having a good time out there in France, Jack?
I don't think he is. I've seen a lot of reports from French. I've seen a lot of reports from French media that he's not doing too well. There's a guy named Euro Expert on Twitter who watches a lot of Ligue 1 football. He's made 2 tweets about how basically he alluded to why maybe Antonio Conte was reluctant to play Jet Spence, and it kind of mostly just has to do with the fact he's really kind of a bit of a lazy defender, or sort of like has a, that's harsh, but he sort of has lapse of concentration basically a lot of times when it comes to defending. Like he'll just sort of see a through ball kind of just go right between the lines, you know, that he probably could have saw, or he just kind of loses track of the guy running in behind him, kind of those sort of things. And I think he's
being
been
a young footballer.
He's been given some pretty bad match ratings, like according to some French outlets and things like that.
They did just beat PSG though on the recently, so that's, I mean, that's a pretty good
post
team
PSG
effort.
collapse against Bayern. So I think like you can read into that a few ways. Like I think you can read into that like PSG are the sort of Hollywood of clubs, and I think after they lost to Bayern, their season is now over. So they're just gonna go.
Yeah,
you know, that's kind of our season now.
They're gonna coast, just coast.
Just going back to Bob Spur's comment there. I think I can see what he's saying, because you know our recruitment hasn't been along the lines of any sort of strategy or any sort of style of play. So in that respect, what we've built is a team full of players that Daniel Levy can get £5 million off. That seems to be the whole recruitment criteria. It doesn't matter if you're a centre forward, a goalkeeper, a right winger. The only thing that dictates whether you come and play for Tottenham is whether Daniel Levy can get £5 million off. That's it. And that really isn't building anything, you know?
Yeah, I think a rebuild is more like a Liverpool, right? Where you look at what Liverpool achieved, you look at how far they come with Jurgen Klopp, Salah, Sadio Mane, right? They achieved so much. They won the Premier League, they won all the domestic cups, they won Champions League twice or whatever, I believe. And now they're kind of reaching a bit of a lull. Now they're reaching what is probably, I think, a rebuild. Like they are trying to now form a new team to replace all those great players they had before. Like they have to replace Fabinho, they have to replace Sadio Mane, they have to replace kind of Salah, they have to replace Van Dijk, they have to replace kind of a lot of people. But what's kind of the case at Spurs is it feels like we have a lot of sort of squad fixes we need to make, but that's off of the back of achieving nothing. That's where it's sort of. That's true. I think that's where Bob might be coming from, or
fair enough.
Coming from. It's like what rebuild when we've achieved nothing.
Well, Bobby K says rebuild or not depends on who comes in to manage and for how long. If we sign another manager to a 2-year contract, and that shows our lack of ambition. That's a good point there. Yeah. This is so depressing and frustrated right now. And that, I mean, it is very frustrating and depressing.
We still need to focus on this season. I feel like really top 4 is so important for next season. Like we have to get that top 4, and then we can kind of relax and be like, okay, like we got top 4. We can like actually like recruit some good players, blah, blah, blah. Like we just need to like finish off strong. That's why I'm like not even thinking about next season, because if we finish 6th or 7th, everything we say is just going to go out the window. You know, like
I don't think finishing top 4 or 6th or 7th will make any difference to the players we recruit.
I agree.
We got top.
Who would want to come to Tottenham at 6th place? You know, no trophies in the future. You know, like there's no Champions League. Nobody wants to play in Europa League. Europa League is like almost like a punishment. Like people don't want to play in Europa League.
That's not true.
Okay, listen, we're not going to get any Champions League quality players if we're not in Champions League. Like it's just a fact.
Well, I mean, it makes no difference to what players did we buy during the summer that wouldn't have come to Tottenham if we didn't have Champions League. I don't think it really. I get what you're saying about, you know, if
what do you like him
definitely wouldn't have came because he's old. He's only looking for Champions League.
If Tottenham was interested in getting the best players, then I'd agree with you. But I don't think we really are.
Yeah, I feel like we're just trying to get a good manager, and then we can be like, okay, we got a top manager, so now we don't have to buy players. We can just make the fans happy with their manager, kind of thing. It's like I'd rather just get a manager that's has potential or whatever. I think get good players. It's not possible if we get 6th place. It's just not. We couldn't get any good players this summer, and we were in 4th. So I'm saying, like, even if we get 6th, we're definitely not getting anybody. It's like we didn't even have a chance to get any of those center backs this last summer because they didn't want to come to Spurs. We actually had Champions League. Imagine if we didn't have Champions League.
Well, I would argue that Arsenal made better signings in the summer than we did, and they weren't top 4.
Yeah.
I think where some people actually, the Arsenal is a good point. I would say Newcastle maybe not as much, just because they have more of a blank check to work with. But I think Arsenal, they were finished consistently outside the Champions League for a long time, and they've basically spent whatever they can to try to get back into it, like no matter what. They haven't fallen off. They have fallen off actually considerably to what they previously were, but they've done whatever it took, it seems like,
But
to
their
sort
players,
of
I
get
mean,
into
they're not
Champions
bad
League
players.
to support
I
Arteta.
mean, yeah, I mean, I think let's see, Partey, I think came in a couple of seasons ago, right? And he was when they were in.
He shouldn't be playing though.
But
he shouldn't be playing, if you want my opinion.
Dude, he's like their best player.
I don't give a fuck. He shouldn't be playing.
For things off the field.
Yeah. Hold your guys' thoughts real quick. I'm still gonna skim through some of these. I'm still gonna skim through some of these comments real quick. But yeah, my opinion is he shouldn't be playing. Brent agrees with you, Paul. He said no, midfield is making defense look worse than it is. A 4-2-3-1 going forward, which is what I think I would prefer, which is a 4-2-3-1. But we still need to find a legit Eriksen replacement to play that missing role going back to the back four. I think you stick Harry Kane in that 10, and I think maybe he's got it. And then he also says Lloris isn't a bad egg, Jack. He's just sunsetting. Yeah, he's just on the beach. Yeah,
he'll make Lloris will make it a mistake and then just start like pointing at people like, "What did you do wrong?" It's like, dude,
yeah, that's where I've lost it with him. It's not as much the mistakes. I understand the fact that he's now making mistakes. I agree, Parker. It's more the body language and the lack of leadership.
The one against, exactly.
Lack of leadership.
Exactly.
Yeah.
God, we need that.
We have an older squad compared to the other big six. A few of our new signings, Richie and Biss, are 26, Romero 24, Porro 23, Bentancur 25. So not exactly a complete rebuild. Also, SOF comes through and says Arsenal's core are about 25 and signing new deals. They are a position that they could buy one or two 60 to 80 million players to add to their squad. Big up to Leslie Crawford. Leslie Crawford says if Chelsea sack Potter, it will cost them another 60 million plus the 21 million compo they pay. Well, I mean, they're just going to have to hold on to that. Or you're right. They just don't care. Yeah, you're right.
If they're going after Nagelsmann, Chelsea, they really are.
But it's like, but Arteta already had history.
Tacticians.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I was going to say Arteta already had won a trophy with Arsenal. So like that gives other players, like motivation. Okay, I can go to Arsenal and we might win something. But it's like a Tottenham. We haven't won anything and no Champions League. No, thanks. Like I wouldn't sign, So, but it's like, they won FA Cup with
big glory hunter,
and like I think SOF said something too. Like Jesus and Zinchenko both, were at City. They knew Arteta.
Yeah, true.
So that's also a huge plus for them. But yeah.
SOF says by the time we rebuild in 3 to 4 years, Chelsea, City, Liverpool will just buy new players in 1 or 2 windows. That's a good point. Brent Barkley said we talked about how much love he has for his teammates. I think he was alluding to the Romero. And then he also comes through and says it was 100% anti-Conte presser. In my opinion, Kulu's interview today was interesting. He played both sides of it. That is a good fact. He did. Kulu did. He did kind of want to set the record straight, but then he also did give Conte his flowers. Which, if you're asking me, I think that was a good move on his part.
I didn't see
and
that.
We have the homie Jacob. What's up, my homie Jacob? Big ups to y'all. What a panel. Thank you, homie. Not great mostly, but Spence was great in the win over PSG. He's got something. And then Lisa Crawford comes through and says Spence was named in the League on Team of the Week for his latest performance against PSG. Well, that's good, bro. That's a good shout there. Club signing, Conte proving a point, etc. So many narratives regarding Spence. Maybe, just maybe, he's not that good. Did you guys hear about Antonio Conte? I think it was Alistair Gold who came out and said that it might have been a Tottenham signing, but Antonio Conte was pushing for Spence. He was pushing for all these other signings to come through the door. Every signing kind of got ran through him. It's not like they went behind his back and signed these players. Did anybody else see something like that?
I did, yeah. But I kind of have an answer to that, where it's sort of like I feel like I wouldn't doubt if Antonio Conte sort of just put his thumbs up or like whatever. Yeah. But at the same time, I think there is a bit of a myth that managers are out there searching for players on Transfermarkt or like whatever. Like that's not a thing. Like, in fact, Thomas Tuchel got sacked because that Todd Bowley guy over at Chelsea wanted Tuchel to like take over all the transfers and like make all the transfers. And Tuchel was like, I'm a coach, like let me focus on getting these players, underway and everything. And, he's, I think Tuchel basically said like, yes, I like approve some of the transfers. Yes, I have a bit of a say, but I'm not the one like doing the scouting and like doing the research, like to find my guy or whatever. And that's where it was, I think, a bit of a myth that managers are always approving every transfer. Like they're not the ones actively searching for the right guy. I think they might have an opinion, of course, when given the information on who the player is or if they've ever seen them before or something like that. But I think
they can definitely
it is a bit of a myth that managers like just are searching the players themselves.
Well, Ten Hag has brought in like 3 past players so they bring in past players, and that's different.
That's for sure. Yeah, that they definitely have worked.
It's not scout. They're not scouting. They're just like you said, we've known them in the past or whatever. But yeah, when it comes to scouting new players, I don't think the managers have anything to do with that. Yeah.
I think he was told that Jed Spence is tall and fast and is homegrown and would fill the homegrown.
He's like, yeah, sure, whatever. He can be on a bench just in case, whatever.
Yeah. I don't think it's deeper than that.
Arteta had links with Jesus. This is that comment you were talking about. Hey, Jack and everybody, I'm still content. Jack, I'm pretty sure you see this name more than I do. Do you have any idea how to? Zer, okay, cool.
In German, that's like SEHR would be like Zer is like very, or like, it'd be like, it's like mucho or, like in Spanish.
Okay, cool. Well, muchas gracias. Thank you for joining the stream, bro. See, Drewzilla, big up. The Irish Hotspur in. Drewzilla, big up to you. Thank you for joining.
Or actually, sorry, be more like Moy. Be more like Moy in like Spanish.
Yeah. Moy. Okay. Muy.
Yeah,
muy, like a lot. Yeah. Hulu said Conte was a big reason he came to Spurs. So did Ben 10. Well,
yeah, that's obvious. I mean,
he also said that he plans on staying here for the future too. So that was a good comment on Kulu's part. I did want to ask you guys a question, and it is about Kulu and it is about Bentancur and the players that did come in. If we get rid of Antonio, I guess it's more of when we get rid, or however the hell that whole thing ends up finishing. If you're Kulu and Bentancur, do you feel any type of way, or do you still approach it as like, hey, then this other manager, be that Nagelsmann, be that Poch, be it Zinedine Zidane, be it whoever, Luis Enrique? Yeah, are you? I mean, do you see these guys being professionals, or can you see any of our team wanting to then just leave because Antonio Conte was a big part of the reason they're here? And I'll go with Paul first.
Geez, I would hope not. Or maybe with some of them, I would hope so. Maybe Eric Dyer might think, well, if Conte is gone, I'm gone too. Be like, oh no. Look, they're professional footballers, and it's a similar sort of thing to me when people say the manager's lost the dressing room or the players aren't playing for the manager. I think that's disgraceful. I think that's pretty disgusting to have professional footballers, taking money off fans that are traveling all around the country to support them. And if they're not playing for the manager, they should be paying for their own pride, the badge that they're wearing, their family, the friends that have, got them to where they are. So, I wouldn't like to see any players just have a sulk because Conte's gone, but maybe some will, and then they can just get their P45s on the way out as well with a boot up the arse, because I hate that. And I've seen Tottenham players do this, man, down tools, like Zagreb, and those last bloody matches we were playing, like Sheffield United, AC Milan. Earlier in the year, Nottingham Forest, man, what the fuck was that? That's not them earning their money in any way, shape, or form. So there seems to be a thing with it's too much player power in the modern game. I don't think it's necessarily just a Spurs affliction, although we seem to be having it more than others. It might be that, with all our wonderful training facilities, players are just bloody comfortable playing for Tottenham. Maybe Conte's a bit right there, It's like they're training like they're Rocky 3 about to get his ass kicked by Clubber Lang. They need to go out. We need to send them out into Epping Forest with a couple of axes for a few weeks and then just pick them up
Have
after
them
a
run
month.
up a sandhill for 3
Yeah,
hours.
yeah.
Up a little bit.
Pick up the players that are still stuck it out. You know, they're just soft as bollocks at the moment, like a lamb's arse, soft and sloppy.
Do you want to, Paul, just quickly though, isn't it maybe a good thing that we've heard some rumors that there is a bit of a divide in the dressing room where there are some people like Bentancur? I think Bentancur came out and said like everything Conte says is completely true and valid, and you know there's a bit of a. He even said there's a bit of a rift right now. Kulusevski kind of obviously with his comments might be kind of on sort of that page as well. So. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
I think you're right,
maybe
Jack.
that's a good thing that some people are kind of like, I agree with Conte, and some people are like, how dare he, right?
No, I was thinking the same thing, Jack. When you know reports are coming through that there's a rift, well, I'm thinking, well, the players that have got their noses out of joints, they're the ones we want to fuck off.
Yeah.
You know, because any player, whether they agree with Conte or not, it should be irrelevant. Go out there and play to the best of your ability. Don't fucking whinge about it. And if you don't like criticism, then go and play for Crystal Palace or someone. We don't need you. I think you're bang on, Jack.
For sure.
I feel like, I don't know, for me, with that original question, Leo, I don't know. Like, I feel like Kulusevski, Bentancur, they seem to have the right attitude. Like, it'd be shocking if they were to down tools for the next manager. They've only been here barely a year. So if they were to all of a sudden, like, kind of down tools and not want to play for Spurs anymore, I would be deeply betrayed, but I would not have seen that coming, I'll be honest. They seem like they want to be here for a long time. They seem like they want to, you know, they seem like they enjoy it, actually, at Spurs, to be honest, despite us playing drab and disgusting football. And while like I said, have very much been stubbornly Conte in, I think they've clearly stuck through it, and they've been very good team players. Same thing with, same thing with Romero, same thing with Emerson, same thing with a lot of, I would say, the players that we bought within the last 2 or 3 years. I would say maybe cut off as 3 years. They all seem to have a better attitude than the ones that we've had from previous.
I don't think we've seen the best of them either. You know, if we're playing more progressive football, you think how much better I think Bentancur and Kulusevski could be when they're trusted to take the game to the other team a bit more. I think it'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I think
just quickly also as well, random thing on Romero, actually, by the way, guys, like, just if you want this insight, like, when I just saw it because I was in the South stand and I saw it myself. When Romero got that red card, it was literally because there was a Ben Davies like moment where Ben Davies just kept getting like caught in no man's land. And then I think Romero just lost it at one stage, just like seeing Ben Davies continue to lose himself in no man's land. So he just beelined it all the way to that side just to kill that player, basically. It was actually, like, I'm not kidding. It was him literally just losing his head at seeing someone else just not able to defend and like not able to do their job anymore. And that's the type of attitude, like, I don't blame, to be honest.
And you didn't see that in the World Cup when he played, in the teams, because he had a good team with him, and it's like now he doesn't have that. So he's got to like make up for some of the players that we have. But I think Bentancur and like Kulu, I think they're fan favorites. Everyone loves them. And I think they have a future in our club, even if we get a new manager. So if we do get a new manager, I think they'd want to stay, because everybody loves them and they still have a chance to, like Paul said, they have more potential. There's still more to come from them. And I think they'd still play. They're good enough to still be in the squad with the new manager. So I don't see them leaving with Conte. I don't think they're that loyal to Conte.
The thing that really pissed me off about that Milan game, and I know, Romero had a rush of blood to his head, but he didn't lose us the game. In the second half, we went to more of a 4-4-2 system, which only lasted about 10 minutes before Romero got sent off. But we looked so much better when we were playing in that formation for that 10 minutes. And I'm thinking, well, why didn't we play that from the beginning? Why is this your plan B? Why is it defend? Oh, we need a goal in the next 20 minutes. I just don't like the way we're set up. And that's I'm rambling now, but no more defensive shit. I'm fed up with it. It's not Spurs.
I do love to watch your tactical defense videos where you show us how to be a defender.
Bloody true. It's supposed to be a satirical piss take, not a documentary. Fucking hell, man.
Yeah, I like it. Real quick, I want to say a big Big up to John Fitzpatrick. What's going on, my homie? Thank you for joining. Real quick, we kind of touched on this earlier, but as he's asking now, real just quick fire. I'll go with you, Paul. Question to the panel: was Conte right to do what he did, Paul?
Geez, it's a hard one to answer this because I'm tainted because what he said rang so true with me. You know, I agreed with everything he said completely. But whether it was right for him to do that, I think it would have been more right for him to do that and then go and walk. I would have understood it. But to say that and then just hang around waiting for a payout, he's like a jaded cop waiting for his pension to come round, you know, at the moment. So that's kind of made me think, you know, is he just serving himself? Is it more trying to protect his own legacy? I don't know if that's more true, but there's questions like that in my head because he didn't just say it and then walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack, real quick to you, brother. Fitzy posed the question, so I'm posing it to you. Was he right to do what he did?
Yeah, I kind of echo what Paul said. I agree with every single thing that Antonio Conte said. Could he have made it a bit simpler on us by then just sort of dropping the mic and saying, you know, I'm out and, you know, no longer the manager here? It could have made things a bit simpler for us and maybe not leave us in limbo or in purgatory like we are right now. But it's hard to really at least in my point. Like, I've been very stubbornly Conte in. I kind of don't really see the next manager being able to fix any of the issues we have with the same players we have here, as well as with the owner, if they don't really change their act as well. So I just feel like the next manager is probably going to suffer the same fate. So the way that Conte called out basically everybody at the club, I kind of don't blame him.
Do you think that he left us in limbo, or do you think Daniel Levy is still kind of like in a state of shock as to what went down, and he's the one that's actually keeping us in limbo? Because he did drop the mic, bro. He did say what he said, and he basically dropped the mic and said, "Fuck you guys, the ball's in your court now." That's what I got from that.
I agree.
Right?
I think he dropped the mic, or he had truth bombs, like, for sure when it comes to it. But I feel like I meant drop the mic in that, like, he's sort of out, like he's done. He's sort of he's effed off. He's right. You know, he's just, you know, he's done. Like, you know, he doesn't want to deal with us anymore. That would have been more convenient. But at the same time, did I disagree with anything he said? No. So that's what's hard.
Yeah, I think he just left it in Daniel Levy's court for sure. He left the ball in Daniel Levy's court, and we all know that penny pincher's not going to want to pay the no severance pay. He's not going to want to pay that. You know, if Conte leaves, he's out the money for the supposed year extension that I guess is looming over this whole thing. That if we let him go, then we have to pay the year extension, or if he walks, then he doesn't get it. So I think at that point he kind of did definitely put it into Levy's and Enix's court. But what do you think, Parker? Before I'll go back to you in a second, Paul. I just want to get Parker's opinion.
Well, I mean, if he said that, you know, on live television, I can't even imagine what he said, like, in the locker room to the players, you know, and I'm sure he's been saying this, like, for months to them, you know, and after a while, you know, you can say as much as you want to these players in the locker room or the dressing room or whatever, and if they don't change, sometimes you just get annoyed, you know. It's like a teacher trying to, like, you know, teach your students like a math problem. They just don't get it over and over again. It's like eventually you're just going to be like, guys, like, seriously. But no, he was right. But yeah, he shouldn't have said it like in public, right? Because, like, I think what Paul said, he's like trying to, like, you know, protect his legacy, because he said, like, oh, I'm not used to this, blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, we get it, but there's a lot of managers out there that are struggling too, but they don't do this, you know. Nobody else is, like, you know, making these public announcements, you know. I just think it was wrong to do, like, in the public eye, for sure. Say whatever you want, like, behind closed doors, right? Just rip them apart if you have to. But the fact that he did it, like, you know, in front of the cameras and everything, I think it was unprofessional. There are a lot of, like I said, a lot of managers that are struggling right now, like Southampton, blah, 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 like a bunch of clubs. You don't see them saying the same stuff. So, and I know it's a different situation for each club, but every club's going through something, right? Like some sort of problems. I mean, most clubs. So the fact that he did that just disappoints me, you know. I wish he would have kept it in-house and been more professional about it, you know. So That's what I think.
Maybe you brought up earlier, one of you, I think it was Parker or Leo, that brought up like the whole Daniel Levy. Did he do that maybe to surprise Daniel Levy? Did he do that maybe to throw Daniel Levy a curveball? That is an interesting one, right? Like it would be in Conte's brand to sort of do something kind of that was unexpected, or to do something that was sort of right, like catch
And
people
that
a
might
bit off
change the
guard.
players too, kind of, maybe. I'm not saying, but last time he, had that rant about the players, we ended up winning, the next couple games. So
I'm with
gonna
John
be a
too. It
complete-
was the best thing I've ever heard a manager say, to be honest. Like, I agree with him on that. And it's the best thing I've ever heard a manager say when it comes to calling out the ownership, the players, like everybody. He basically called everybody out, bar the tea lady. And that's what
was
was
yeah.
good to hear.
But I wish he hadn't done it, in front of cameras. But yeah,
The thing
I
I
like
didn't
to
like
see
he was wrong to say it, but he was right.
Mhm.
He was wrong to say it. That's all I got to say.
the thing I didn't like about Conte's remarks was the week before, when he seemed to slam the fans a lot in my eyes, saying the fans have run out of patience. The only way we can win if we're all on the same thing. And it's like, well, dude, you're not gearing as much to cheer about at the moment. If you're going to play shit football and give away goals and give away games and get knocked out of cups, hey, come on,
Rest
you
Harry
Spurs.
Kane for our last cup
Antonio.
game.
Sorry?
I was just gonna say, like resting Harry Kane in the FA Cup. It's like, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
I feel like Antonio's a guy who would pass a lie detector test, but say two opposite things, like, right after another. Like he would say, like, were you born in Italy? He would say yes. And then the next question would be like, is your name Antonio Conte? He would say no. It would still be like no pulse or like something like that. It's just because that's the thing. He's been sort of caught out on saying one thing one week and then another thing the next week. And then when he's even asked on it, like you just said the opposite the last week. He does a great job at like sort of deflecting it like a politician as well. So I don't know.
He's not used to losing, and it's like, man, you gotta. I don't know. He knew what he was coming into, right? He declined our initial offer, I think, right? And that's why we had to get Nunez. He declined it. He knew what he was getting into. So for him to eventually just like blow up, it's like, man, like I wish he hadn't done it, honestly. So,
but it all comes down to Levy in the end, really. For me, he's hiring these managers that are totally inappropriate for Tottenham. He's totally gutted the whole soul out of the club. We had that back when we had Poch, and Levy didn't back him, not just with transfers, but gave him no transfers and sacked him. It's like, well, what manager would have achieved better with no new players and no squad refresh? And you just stabbed him in the back. So I don't know.
The thing is, like, we tried to get some players. They just don't want to come to Tottenham. Like, that's the sad part. It's like,
there's enough players out there, man. There's enough good players out there.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, yeah, we might have bid a little bit too low, but I think also the players are just like, no trophies in whatever years. It's a sad truth, I feel like.
You're on mute there, mate.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that when I kept trying to press it. At the end of the day, Jack, you did kind of allude to this. They are professionals, and I mean, whether or not we want to think of them, playing for the manager or playing for the badge, at the end of the day, I think the majority of professionals play for the badge, just because the badge is what ends up paying their rent or their mortgage or whatever the case is. So. Parker, I mean, you're sitting here saying how you would love for us. We need to focus on finishing top 4. So these players don't want to just fucking drop the ball now. They're gonna want to, they're gonna want to finish the season strong, however it is possible.
I want them to use Conte's words, and like, as a positive criticism or whatever, And
well, I think half of the players will, though. I think that's like where the whole division, the whole dividedness is at. I think half of them are
if only half the players are going to show up, we're fucked. Like, We have no chance.
And that's true, real quick, Lazy 8 says, sorry for spamming the world, but this guy needs to honor his commitments and see these last 10 matches out. The board needs to show some huevos and insist he return under the breach of contract. Yeah, I agree. The board needs to show some huevos just like he did. He says, big up to the panel. Huevos are
balls. That's right. I thought, but I just wanted to double check.
They're technically they're eggs, but like if you're going to be talking about them, you're talking about them being
if you use it in plural tense, it's
nice,
like
baby.
Yeah,
I feel like
big up to Lazy 8.
I feel like Antonio Lazy 8, like this is what I sort of meant was earlier, if you were able to catch it, was just like I agree with every single thing he said. He had truth bombs when it came to Enoch and Levy. He had truth bombs when it came to the squad. He had truth bombs when it came to the culture at the club and a bunch of things. It just sort of felt like he could have made it like a 10 out of 10 kind of dish or a 10 out of 10, type of speech. If he did what sort of, I think Paul said it first, actually, was sort of like, if he just had said at the end, I'm out of here. F you all, like I'm done. I'm breaching my contract, whatever, settle it with my lawyers. Like, let's
it kind of was though,
rip
because
up
the international break was
but
coming.
no, he said all that, and then like Paul said, maybe he's waiting for some payout. And if that is the case, then that is a bit slimy.
Yeah. Do you think he waited towards for like the game right before the international break, like on purpose?
Possible, isn't it? It's possible. I mean, I don't see how Southampton was the straw that broke the camel's back, because we had a few crappy results before that. Even when we beat Nottingham Forest, we nearly gave that game away. It wasn't like, and Nottingham Forest was so shit as well, and yet still we nearly managed to draw it.
Yeah, it seems like he was waiting for the right time to just blow up.
Yeah.
Like, I can say this, and I can get fired over the the week off that I have or whatever after this. I don't know. But.
Yeah, he did pick a perfect week to say this. Real quick, Parker, who would you like to see as the next manager? Nagelsmann, Amorim, the dude from Sporting, Enrique, Poch. Have we already discussed? We kind of discussed a little bit, but I mean, since he's asking, we'll just Parker, who real quick, just a couple of words. Who out of those?
Between the Frankfurt manager and Enrique, I think
okay.
Yeah, how do you say his name? The guy from Frankfurt, Amorim.
No, that's the guy from Sporting.
He's Sporting, Ruben Amorim.
Oh,
Ruben Amorim. Yeah. That's the Sporting.
Okay.
The Sporting Lisbon.
I thought we were linked to the guy from Frankfurt for a while. That's why I thought.
Yeah, we were.
But
Oliver Glasner. That's a different guy.
But that felt okay. Well, I don't even know the other guy. I guess I was gonna say I liked the guy from Frankfurt because he's like won the Europa League. He knows how to win trophies. Then Enrique, I would want him just because I really would be excited about the kind of players that he'd want to bring in. I know he likes Spanish players, and there's a lot of good Spanish players out there. I think that we could definitely benefit from. So, yeah, I like Enrique for sure. But the others, not so much. Definitely not Poach. It doesn't make sense when people say they want to win trophies and they want to bring Poach back. It just like we had him for 6.5 years and it didn't work.
With Colorado's many oceans, guys, Luis Enrique is a big surfer, actually. So if you're into that, he's kind of into the extreme sports. Apparently, Enrique is a bit of a hippie. Actually, he's a bit of a hippie. It's like a hippie extreme sports.
As long as he's that 420 type of hippie, bro.
I'm not kidding. He literally is a 420.
I mean, he'll put some risk in there, not have the same
like surfing
squad
in Malibu.
every
He'll
week.
be like caught like surfing the waves in the I don't know. Like he's a very big surfer and extreme sports guy. It's quite funny, and he's big on like sunny like weather. Apparently, the whole reason he hasn't ever even managed in England is because his wife is adamant about not like living in England because of the terrible.
Yeah,
they're smart, like.
Well, I'll have a little rant on this one because I think there has been some great injustices on the internet recently.
Here we go.
Not only just from this man here and his co-conspirator Dave Harris. You're an absolute disgrace. But not only you two. I watched Ben and Sim this morning, and they did the same thing. That's a channel I love. We are Tottenham TV. You're a disgrace, Ben and Sim.
They're all betraying you, Paul.
So I turn on this guy, so-called stream information, And he goes on future managers and he says, oh, but we'll rule the shit ones out. And I see Ange Postecoglou with a great big red cross on him. I see Ben and Sim sticking straight into underwhelming. Now, I'm going to tell you why Ange Postecoglou is the man for the job. One, I hear he's not experienced enough. Currently, he has more experience than Sir Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger combined when they both went to their jobs in the Premier League. Ange Postecoglou, he's won premierships in Australia. He's won the Asian Cup with the Australian national team, got them to punch way above his weight. He leads jobs on his own terms. He leads teams in great condition. He managed the team here, Brisbane. They were shit until he took over. 32 games unbeaten. He goes and manages in Japan, wins a premiership over there. He goes to Scotland. So, look, Jack, Dave, Ben and Sim, I can forgive you a little bit because I've been following Ange. And it's not just because I'm Australian, because we've got loads of coaches here that are shit and not fit to manage Accrington Stanley. But all the Celtic fans said, who's this Ange Postecoglou guy? What the fuck are we doing? Isn't he shit? And I'll tell you what, he has got Celtic playing such good football. And if Celtic played Tottenham right now, they would kick our ass. I'm telling you that. They lost their Champions League games, but they dominated for such long periods against the likes of Real Madrid. You know, can you imagine Tottenham dominating anything against Real Madrid at the moment? Also, his background, he's a very humble man. He's a Greek immigrant, moved to Australia. When he was a professional footballer, he was coached by Ferenc Puskás. I mean, what more royalty do you bloody want? And you come here and say he's not got enough experience. I'd like to see him manage somewhere else in the Premier League. He's not going to go from fucking Celtic to Crystal Palace, is he? He's going to go. The only downside I see with it is it would break my heart to see Levy fuck up another manager, let alone one that I really respect. And I think he is genuinely one of the best managers in the world at the moment. But also, I think he is a bit of a Liverpool fan, and I think he might just hold out for the Liverpool job when Klopp goes, and then you're going to be eating my hat and your own hat and humble pie and everything. It's Ange Postecoglou is the man for the job,
Get it right.
bar none.
Well,
And
there
if
you
you
go,
don't know, get to know.
There you go, Paul. If you don't
I'm
know,
done.
Yeah.
I'm out. Over to you.
I'm
Thank you.
silenced.
No,
I had my
well-
homework fed to me. Like, honestly, I'm like the dog that ate your homework, Paul. I just ate your homework there. I mean, honestly, I don't know what to say
Yeah.
afterwards. I'm gonna shut
I'll tell
up.
you what, if we hired him, he'd win you over with his first press conference.
Oh, I would say he is too cool for school with the press conferences. He is perfect. Like
He's
he
managing
is-
Carter Vickers over there, isn't he? In Scotland?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen
And
that.
Joe Hart. Joe
All I've
Hart.
seen with
Yeah,
him is
Joe
that
Hart.
pass that what's his name? Carter Vickers did. It was like a terrible pass, and it just panned over to the manager, and he was like, "What the hell?" Did you guys see that too, or no?
I know I didn't, but
No?
anyone
Okay.
who has to manage Joe Hart
But-
certainly is going through a lot of pain.
No,
Joe
yeah,
Hart's won 3 trophies since he left Spurs. Another player. And, you know, I don't buy this, oh, it's
Were
just
those
the Scottish Premier
were
League.
those from the clubhouse cricket matches, or were those from the?
I mean, can you imagine Man United saying, oh, Alex Ferguson, you've only managed at St Mirren and Dundee. You know, we don't know if you can cut it in the first division. So, you know, Arsene Wenger, you only got a championship in France and Japan. You're not big enough for us. At some stage, you've got to recognise that a manager is a good coach and they can only win where they're at. And that's what Ange is doing.
Yeah, you got to give him a chance.
Yeah.
In the Premier League too. You know.
Yeah. Well, I wish we could sit here and chat a lot more, but unfortunately, Parker and I have to wrap this up here pretty soon. For those of you who are not familiar with the guy that Paul was ranting about, he's the Celtic manager right now who's doing work. Who some YouTubers have said he's he went and cut the mustard.
I had to Google
but you
him,
know,
Paul.
I mean,
Danny
Right.
Rose.
yeah, we had
Great.
to Google it. I did too. I'm not gonna lie. If you were to ask me out of those who I would want, I think I would take Enrique. But that's even a shot in the dark, you know, because he only had a couple of good seasons with Barcelona, and he had, you know, arguably the best three up front that anybody can have. So
Can he speak
it's kind of
English?
like an outliers. I think he can. I think he can. He seems like an intelligent guy, bro. So I think he can. If not, like he said, like Paul just said, he better get to know him if
I
he
remember
comes
when
over.
Coach was the manager at Southampton. He had like a translator when he was first at Southampton, but it was like hard.
Whoa. Someone said they were Celtic were terrible in this year's Champions League. No. They were definitely not. It came down to fine margin.
They just couldn't finish. That was.
They were brilliant, and also the other thing with Celtic is they learn and they get better and better. They're already better than they were this year or earlier this year or last year.
It was also their first time back in the Champions League.
That's right. Next year's Champions League will be a different story for Celtic. You know,
they hadn't been back in the Champions League for a long time. I think
that's right.
Not a long time, but for like 3 or 4 years or whatever.
You're coming around, Jack. I like the Wolves. I like the Wolves.
Rangers.
Well, look, you guys. I'm just gonna say we need to finish this conversation, and we need to have another one in a couple. As soon as you guys are available. I just kind of wanted to see how you guys felt about the whole, the whole Antonio Conte ordeal going on. Unfortunately, we're on international break, and we won't have a game until we play against Everton. I just have to, Paul, you had your rant, and this is my time to have like a little mini rant. I was supposed to go to Milwaukee to watch the game on April 1st against Everton, and now for some reason these fuckfaces went and changed it to a Monday game. Right, it's now going to be on a Monday on the 3rd, which ruined like my whole plans of going with the homies over there in Milwaukee and just having a fun time. And now like that all got canceled because they wanted to switch around the games. But
I had to last season I went to West Ham. I was in I had to stay an extra day because I think it was like a day or two before I had left, even like for London and for the England and everything. They had moved the West Ham game like a day later, and that was the day that I was flying out. And they moved it like a week and a half. It was even like a big deal because it was sort of like you can't move it a week and a half before the fixture or something. And then that happened to me. So,
speaking of fixtures,
so I had to pay $400 extra to change my flight.
I'd just like to give a quick fuck you to Tottenham Hotspur for touring Australia, and they're playing in bloody Perth, which is thousands of bloody miles away from me. What kind of pony-ass outfit are you? If you come to Australia, you've got to play in Sydney and Melbourne, not fucking Perth.
There's an Irish Hotspur fan from Perth, so I would keep it down there, Paul. Keep it down
there. Paul, I know you don't have a YouTube channel, but I mean we could, and anywhere you have anything planned, you're gonna be on any stream soon, or anything that you want to plug. It doesn't even have to be Tottenham related for that matter.
Nah, I'm all right, man. I just pop up when people people are sick and they need a replacement or so. I don't know. I like the kind of channels I'm on yours. I like United Spurs of America, Irish Hotspur. I'm often doing build-ups and things with them. THFC Till I Die. They're the main ones. The boutique channels. Not this more mainstream ones. The ones for the intelligent Tottenham fan. That's why they got so few viewers.
Repostacoglu is unheard.
Repostacoglu. I'm the whack you round the head with a bottle of Mountain Dew in a minute, Jack. You better come on the Postacoglu choo-choo.
Yes, sir.
Jack, what about yourself, sir? I want to ask you a question. I was gonna. By the way, I put links to all the Irish Hotspur stuff down in the description, but I didn't put any Flat Cap Euro because I seen you haven't put anything up there. Is Flat Cap Euro? Are you just focusing more now on the Irish Hotspur, or
I've become very consumed. Yeah, I've become very consumed with the Irish Hotspur, so I've not really had the opportunity to be able to post on Flat Cap. I think Flat Cap as well sort of ended up being maybe more of a hobby eventually, where I wanted to just sort of nerd out talking about like how well Shakhtar Donetsk is doing or how well some team in like the Bulgarian league is doing or something like that. Yeah. But a lot of sort of the crew that I had originally to sort of nerd out with me on those conversations kind of like ended up, having their own busy lives and everything like that. So it sort of, fell apart for a few reasons. But still exists. Maybe one, if you ever watch a Kavicha video or something like that, just know that, I did it first. But yeah, Black Cap. Yeah, I would say it's sadly dead.
Okay. Well, what do you have in store for us on with David on the Irish Hotspur?
Hugo Lloris. I put apart my thesis basically on tearing that guy apart, so I'm gonna edit that down. That's coming out very soon. I would say take a look out for that, please. And then also anybody that comes on to the fan show tomorrow as well. Everybody, come on and have your say.
Okay, cool. Parker, what about yourself, bro? Anything you want to plug?
I mean, no, you'll see me on Mile High Hotspur every Thursday. And I also do match previews, every once in a while whenever I have some time. So look out for those. But yeah, I'll be here every Thursday.
Yeah. I do want to say something, you guys, and I'm sorry it's not Tottenham related. It has a lot to do with the state that Parker and I live in, Colorado. I don't mean to dampen anybody's mood, but just before you go to bed, just make sure you hug your loved ones, and for those of you that know me, know that I'm going through some stuff personally with my family, and some school shootings have been happening. One of them was right across the street from my daughter's school, and then another one next to my son's middle school, and then again yesterday there was another school shooting at a high school here on the other side of downtown. And just you never know when shit could pop off, or where it could pop off for that matter. And I just want to let all you guys know that I'm grateful for all the support you guys give us. I'm grateful for you guys taking time out of your day to listen to us. Because a lot of times being able to do this once a week is kind of an outlet for us in our lives to be able to come on here and talk about stuff to get our minds off of other stuff. And so I greatly appreciate you guys always tuning in and showing some love and support. But like I said, if you find it in yourself to just to reach out to maybe your parent, or to reach out to that brother you haven't talked to, or to reach out to your cousin that you may have fallen out with a long time ago or something like that, just do it. Maybe they could maybe you could make their day a little bit better. And basically that's where I'm getting at with this. Even though Tottenham right now is in disarray, at the end of the day we're humans and we have a life to live apart from this. And so just you guys just approach every day with 100%. And
Be safe.
yeah,
Be safe.
I've only met
be
good
safe.
people from Colorado as well, so definitely I'm sorry that that's happening, and I'm sorry that's something we still have to deal with over here. And I know Colorado as well has really had to go through that a lot, and I'm sorry, but I would say I only know good and beautiful people from Colorado, like really good souls from there. So I'm sorry, Leo.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I appreciate it. Like I said, there's just it really touched home when I found out my kids' schools were on lockdown because there was active shooters, and it really sends shocks up your spine when you hear some stuff like that. And you never know, man. I'm only 35 years old. If I was to lose one of my kids and some dumb shit like that, man, I would lose it. I would literally lose it. And there is people that are actually in that position here and all across the world, not just here in Colorado. So just want to raise some awareness on that. You guys that
if you're dealing with some mental issues, talk to somebody too.
Yeah, no, that too, bro. That too. No bullshit aside. Like, life's tough, you guys. Life's tough, and especially like when our only outlet is going through a tough patch, it makes it even harder for you to try and find joy out of other stuff. You know what I mean? So big up to you guys. Thank you guys for definitely tuning in to the stream. Much love to all you guys that decided to tune in. If you're watching this on replay, or if you've been here live with us, we greatly appreciate you guys. And yeah, until the next one, you guys. Come on, you Spurs.